Welcome to the Barbell Strikes Back. I'm James McDermott, joined by Miguel Porter. Miguel, the Open is upon us. It's that special time of year again. Are you ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you? Is this one of those situations where you're like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not planning to do it. And then you might end up doing it? Or are you like, all right, no, I can't add this other thing onto my plate?
Yeah, it's more of the second thing, but I mean, if I'm around, I'll do the workout.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always down to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I can put into the Open though as like primary focus though.
Yeah. I agree. Like for me last year, I was like looking to do things and looking to compete, like take this lesson, do that, do a swim meet, do the Open. And this year I don't know, I'm kind of in a mindset of like, I'm enjoying being free, like not tied up to a thing that's coming up.
Yeah.
Outside of like going to a concert or, there's a million people getting married this year, so it's like, and I wonder if that's part of it, that I'm already like tied into all these little mini micro events that I don't want to have to add one as well. That's going to be like, oh gosh, I have to prepare for this in a different way other than just showing up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm the exact same, where just even like every time I open up my calendar, like I'm glad that I'm using my calendar more, but now I like one, because I need to, because I open the calendar and I'm like, well, that date doesn't work. That date doesn't work. So I'm not trying to like fill every Saturday, because Saturday seems to be like the one day that like I can wake up and choose not to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the only day that I have that. So yeah, if I'm feeling up for it, and like I'll be there, but I'm not putting too much into it.
Yeah, that's the same with me with the Saturdays. Like we just had our coaches meeting yesterday, which is a Saturday. Then next weekend, I'm doing the Open prep class for people who just want to come and do it. And then after that, it's 3 weeks of the Open. So I was actually thinking about it. I didn't realize it. I'm like, oh, I don't have a Saturday where I can just like not leave the house or do nothing for like 5 weeks now. And I didn't realize. I mean, I kind of knew when I was setting it up, but it just wasn't like it didn't like dawn on me like, oh yeah, you just did that. And now you don't get like a Saturday until March 21st or something like that. And that's a month away. Those Saturdays, they add up.
They really do.
So, and I am looking at a bunch of concerts now. Have you ever been to this venue downtown, Empire Live? I
haven't, but I know they do a lot there. So yeah. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the Palace, which I've been to the Palace, and if you just make a left at the Palace coming off the highway, it's like right there. So my sister's in town from New York City, so I met her at her hotel where she's having her conference for breakfast, and I was like, oh, this is like a nice little scouting too for where Empire Live is, because I just drove by it. And now that I see how accessible it is, it's kind of open. I'm like, well, no, why wouldn't I go to that show now?
Right.
Because even though we're in Albany, the whole time, like, well, I don't know where that is. I don't know. I just assume downtown is crazy. I don't want to drive down there. I don't want to try to have to park down there. But now I'm like, all right, that is kind of easy. I don't know why I wouldn't just go and do something. So I'm going to be adding more shows, I think, to my future. So yeah, just a different flavor this year. And that's not to say that I won't see the Open workout and then look at the scaled / adaptive variations of it. And then if I can, like, all right, I'm just going to do it here in my apartment, whatnot. Right. If I really want to sign up, I'll just submit my score. It's like, all right, I'm not cheating the adaptive workout. You can trust me. I'm going to go slow and complete every rep and whatnot. I just don't want to have that hassle either. All right, the Open class is done. I've been here since 8 o'clock or whatever, helping Josh or setting up myself if I'm covering it or something. Then the Open workout's done. It's like 10:30, and now I got to do it. And I'm like, yeah. Or I got to come in before and do it, which sucks too. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if I want that hassle.
Yeah, agreed.
I want that hassle. So we are talking about Open workouts today and Open announcements. And I don't know if you did, but I looked through like almost every year and I'm like, man, I don't even remember so many of these. And some of them are like not memorable and others are like historic. It's just
Yep.
funny how like some workouts hit the community and hit CrossFit differently. And then there's also the ones that like kind of affected us the most, like whether it be as an athlete, it motivated or inspired you. Maybe it was from a coaching perspective. You're like, wow, okay, we need to work on this more, or I need to do a better job at this. Or maybe we just thought something was cool. So there's a lot of things that we can take away from these open workouts. Was it difficult for you to kind of narrow it down to three? Because we each picked three. Was that a hard decision to make?
Well, I did it more based on like what it meant for me watching them.
Mhm.
Because like you said, there were some that I honestly don't remember the actual announcement. Or maybe some that like, oh, I remember this workout, but the videos that I watched also really weren't the announcements. They were like, the somebody else would test it like right after the announcement and like do like a breakdown video and like or like a vlog of the weekend when the workout was announced. And some of those I was more into that, but yeah, most of them I picked like I think they were big for me in like my CrossFit journey. So that's kind of how I picked it. But I mean, three was a good number, I think.
Yeah. I have a couple off to the side that are like honorable mentions. I don't know if you had any honorable mentions.
Yeah, I got one.
But you got one. Should we do honorable mentions first or should we do that at the end?
Yeah, I
How do
think
honorable mentions
first.
first?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, I really technically just have one because they're kind of lumped in together. Actually, no, I kind of have two. But so what's yours? Your honorable mention.
Yeah. So my honorable mention is 23.1. So the workout is 60 calorie row, 50 toes to bar, 40 wall balls, 30 cleans, 20 muscle ups. And the reason that I picked it, two things. Well, a few things actually for this one. They did the open announcement in Spain. It was Gabby Magala, Laura Horvath, Lazar Dukic, and BKG doing the announcement workout. Big things for this one. One, I think this was the first year that Tio wasn't going to be competing.
Oh yeah.
So this was like the beginning of that season. And like the big kind of names of like who's probably going to podium this next year were really the people in this announcement. They did it in Spain. And the big thing with this announcement was that the women's weight was wrong. So they loaded it wrong in the announcement. So they had to redo it. So the women that demoed essentially had to redo it. Again, yeah. So that was kind of funny. Yeah. But I think this was also the workout where you could kind of choose your own path. So you didn't have to like do it chipper style. You could kind of break it up any way that you wanted.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I thought
cool.
that was interesting because you didn't have to finish your full 60 calorie row to move on. You could kind of, if you wanted to break it up like 6 calorie row, 5 toes to bar, 4 wall balls, 3 cleans, 2 muscle ups, and do like 10 rounds of that, you could break it up that way, but you could go any way that you wanted. So it was an interesting one.
That's a repeat, right?
I'm not sure. It might be.
Because 14.4 is 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, calorie row, toes to bar, wall ball, clean, muscle up.
Oh, yeah. Then it must be. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And I know back then you couldn't break it up. You had to finish each one. So they put a little twist on it now that you could break it up any way you want to. That's how they did it.
Yeah. I think most like higher level athletes just took it through that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because otherwise the transitions adding, if you pick wrong, you're like, all right, you're just getting on and off the rower and walking around the room. Wow. No, it's funny you mentioned that workout because that workout is one of my honorable mentions. that was a 14.4, and that was the first workout that had a rower in it. And so most of my honorable mentions are the first time something popped up, like 17.1 20-minute AMRAP, dumbbell snatches and box jump overs. And that was the introduction to dumbbells in the Open. And the next year, in 2018, the first 3 Open workouts all had dumbbells in them. So they just went dumbbell crazy, which good or bad thing. It's hard to discern it now. But so it's like, it's just funny, like, to remember, like there was a time where, like, no, there wasn't a rower in it. And now, like, it might be hard to think, like, oh, I can't believe there was no rowing in it, because everybody's got a rower now. But this is back when, like, will they, won't they? And then all the drama of people using off-brand rowers, even though they said you had to use Concept 2, and people trying to game things with the computer monitors. And is it PM3 or PM5? And the PM3 records it differently. And so, like, just like the CrossFit as a sport had to, like, use this implement that was already being readily used in all of CrossFit and programming and stuff for a while. But now, like, all of a sudden there's all these issues with competition and just ironing that out to where it's to the point it is now, where I don't think they normally have those issues now. And then with the dumbbell stuff, that's where it did push gyms and us to do more dumbbell training, because now it's in the Open, and dumbbells were they were around, but we were a barbell heavy gym. So I don't know what other gyms were doing, but we were definitely a barbell heavy gym. And then wall balls, gymnastics, box jumps, the rowing. But, like, dumbbells didn't pop up as the main star like they do now, where you'll have just a whole workout that's all about dumbbells. And then that prompted us, I remember, to start programming dumbbell strength pieces, like kind of like we did it earlier this week with Fast and Heavy for CrossFit.com's 10-year anniversary. And we started doing, like, all right, you got 15 minutes to build up to a heavy 5 on the thruster, or heavy 3 or 1, or it might be 5, 3, and 1, the same way we would with barbell stuff. And I remember people thought it was weird at first. They're like, all right, we're going to spend 15 minutes on dumbbells. And then, like, flash forward, like, we're in it after practicing it, and people are thrustering the 70s and screaming. And it also looks badass because you have just these 2 huge things in your hands, and people were doing things that they had never done before. I don't know if we get that big of a push like that without it coming up in the Open. It's funny how influential the Open was. I say was. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think, like, your thing with the rower and them having to, because I do remember that later on as well, even when I was doing CrossFit, where there was, like, the controversy of, like, people are using different rowers, and that's impacting scores. It's interesting because they never got there, like, with the bike. So like, the assault bike has never been in the Open. And then I think now we're at a point where the assault bike is somewhat irrelevant. Like, I don't think that they even put it in competition. I think it's all Echo Bike now, or the bike
taken over.
So they never even got to a point where, like, the bike was worth doing that. So it's interesting that they were able to get there with the rower, but with the other ergs, it's kind of like, all right, it's probably better if we just stay away from this.
Yeah. And it's like, now there's more competition for ergs because, like, Rogue has their own. And I think that, but the thing is, with the Concept 2 rower, the difference between in quality and everything between the Concept 2 and any knockoff you could find, because that's what people were finding. They were finding, like, I think it was like Zero or some brand or something like that that was out there. They were finding, like, $300 knockoffs, and it's like they don't even have the technology right, the seat design. Like, the thing that Concept 2 had for them is that they were already such an old company that had already refined this machine decades ago, and it is the tip of the spear, the crown jewel of the technology. With the bike, though, someone had the opportunity to come in and kind of take that over, but, like, Assault did for a while. But the Assault bike has so many problems, and I think they fixed it with the Echo bike. The problem is, everybody went in on buying the assault bikes, and now it's
Yep.
like, what, we're going to get rid of all 13 of these bikes and re get the Rogue ones. It'd be so hard now to, because most affiliates I don't think had had anything but Concept 2. They were just so exclusive. It'd be tough now. It is interesting. Rogue is making their own stuff. I kind of wonder what's going on there. Like, was there, like, did they just like decide to do that because they're like, well, why not? We should just dominate the whole market. Was there a falling out with Concept 2? Because they're making their own ski as well. Isn't that kind of interesting?
I think you have brand trust. I don't think there's a more trusted, like there's Eleiko for weightlifting.
Yeah.
I would say that they're essentially, I would even say Rogue is probably a more trusted brand just because across all these different sports.
Yeah.
Like for weightlifting, if you want to go Eleiko for sure. And then maybe for like powerlifting too, like people know like, all right, Eleiko is like real deal. But if you had Rogue, people would go, that's okay. Like that's more than good enough. And then they also have the rigs, and they're, I feel like, the most consistent with their athletes and sponsoring as well. Like I know that people used to be sponsored by, Reebok and all these different things. And then those kind of, peter out over time. But I feel like Rogue is one of the most trusted brands out there. Like in the world, honestly. Like as much as like Nike,
I think so.
I think people would go Rogue plates before they go Nike plates. So,
oh my gosh,
I think they know.
I would never buy. I don't know. It could be the exact same thing, same mold, but just seeing Nike with the swoosh on it, for some reason, it's like, I don't know, it cheapens it for me. I'd be like, no, this isn't the same. I can't do it. Wow.
But they have like Rogue has their whole like gym builder. And I think they saw that there was a weakness in the assault bike, so they went there for that bike. So they probably thought, why not just have a whole gym that's Rogue?
Yeah.
It probably didn't cost them that much to start developing that. So yeah, why not?
It makes sense. They have the ability to fund it. They have all their technology and warehouse space, and their business is just finely tuned. I imagine that's like a flawless machine that just runs, right? With everything from customer support to manufacturing. And they won essentially the equipment wars. Like back around this time, 2014, there was Rogue, there was Again Faster, which was another brand that you would see a lot at CrossFit gyms. That guy, he was involved in CrossFit seminar staff and stuff like that too. So Again Faster was a big CrossFit brand. We might even have some Again Faster plates floating around somewhere, and some of the barbells maybe that are unbranded. There was Muscle Driver, which originally was like Penlay. He had Penlay barbell, and he would do plates and stuff, and then he partnered up with Muscle Driver, and they were a big one. So those were like the three big players. If you were going to buy bumper plates, barbells, stuff like that, and I would say back then, especially for weightlifters, Muscle Driver had the edge, but like I think their barbells were better. And then they went bankrupt, and Again Faster might still be out there, maybe in a small capacity, but definitely no one says their name anymore. It's kind of funny how fast that switched.
Might have got absorbed,
maybe,
by Rogue. I feel like I've seen like some Rogue T-shirts that had Again Faster on them, so they might have got bought out.
Yeah, I could see that. So and that was the only place you could buy some of these things too. And it's so weird. Like after that, like 2016-ish on, all of a sudden you go into Walmart. Oh, there's bumper plates here. There's dumbbells with the rubber ends and that like fatter grip in the middle and whatnot. That's where I bought my dumbbells at Target. And they're probably they seem exactly the same as what we have at the gym. They were just a lot cheaper than buying it online and the shipping and stuff. So it's just funny how things have changed with the equipment and what we're all doing now in gyms, and the impact the Open kind of had on the marketplace too. How many people bought a rower after that Open announcement?
Right. Yeah.
They can't cash in like that on the bike. I don't think. You think they'll ever try? You think they'll ever try to get a bike in there?
It might be too late. Like you said, like with the too many gyms had assault bikes.
Yeah.
And then they were never able to do anything with it. So I think it's more like in-person competition, and they choose Echo Bike for the most part, unless it's an erg where they do like the fixed handle. And then they might go concept 2. But other than that, yeah, it might be too late for the bike.
It feels it. And also, boy, they'd make so many people mad. Some people wouldn't do it. And then you can't do a thing of like, we'll accept these 3 different types of bikes. You can't do that.
Or like different calorie meter, depending on which one you have. It would be insane.
Look, we can't even get people to count reps correctly and do other stuff. Like you want them to be able to do the conversion between the 2 machines and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think that's. So you only had the one honorable mention?
Yep. Yeah.
And that's essentially mine. It's just those workouts: 17.1, 18.4, and then I guess my last honorable mention was just 14.1, which was a repeat of 11.1, 10-minute AMRAP, 30 double unders, 30 or 15 power snatches at 75-55. Mm-hmm. And the reason that one stands out in my mind is because when they dropped that workout, I don't know how it was in 2011. I think it was much more well received. But the other years, the double unders came up later in the workouts. And that mattered to people because back then, definitely a lot of people were still working to get double unders. And double unders weren't like they were today. If you see 30 double unders back then, like, oh, that's a lot of double unders. I got to figure this out. It was, today, I don't think they'd ever program 30 double unders like that. It'd be like at least 50, right? If not 100. And people were pissed. Like at our gym, people were coming in all bent out of shape, all angry on the Facebook group. I can't believe they did this. I'm going to get a score of 0 and stuff. And then, so that's where, I mean, I'd had hard conversations with people before, but then like you had to have the conversation of like, how much work are you putting into your double unders? Like, hey, you should spend time after. You can probably do a double under. You just have to actually practice it. It pops up in the open all the time. So what were you going to do? Like, you didn't have them last year. You should have been working on them to get them this year. We do all these stuff in class. Like, it's so just having hard conversations and letting athletes kind of like know, like, hey, you got caught unprepared. You got caught. And now you can't be mad about it. You're the one that didn't pick up that jump rope. No one stopped you from coming in after or before class or on the weekends to work on your double unders, to work on your jump roping at home. You just didn't do it, right? And then to see people who were bent out of shape get their first double under, and now they're cool with the open again. They're like, all right, I'm not mad at CrossFit anymore. It's like, yeah, you didn't have to be to begin with. So it really pushed a lot of people to get their first double under, and it put people in a hard place. And I think that's okay for a competition like the Open to be like, no, I know why they changed it too. So like it used to be this way. I'm like, guess you're getting a score of 0. You don't have them. Work on them or spend this 10 minutes. So isn't that the beauty of the workout? As coaches, we were always telling people, spend 10 minutes before class, 10 minutes after class. And now CrossFit's like, oh, you don't got double unders? Spend 10 minutes during this heat. Yeah. Finally practicing them. It seems like CrossFit used to do stuff more like that. I'm like, there was this built-in accountability thing or this built-in like mirror on like, guess whose fault it is? It's your fault,
Right.
And I think over time that's changed because now people just won't sign up, right? Like they're like, well, I'm not if muscle ups are first, like they can't do workout number 1, ring muscle ups, first exercise, stand there and try to get your first, like, right. They can't do that anymore. Is that, you think so?
I mean, yeah, I think now, they can, especially because the prize purse is tied to open signups. So yeah, they will probably make sure at least the first workout I mean, you can do it in the second because you already got the money from everyone
Yeah.
who's going to sign up. So
Yeah.
but
Do you think so? Even going back then, there was this huge debate on whether it was right or not. And remember, the first open workout ever was this workout. But I guess you can let that slide by because there'd never been an open before. So it's like, oh, let's do this, right? But now here we are several years later in 2014, and it was the first one. And you would think that things would have progressed to a point where people are better at their double unders, and double unders pop up every year. They got to be working on them, right? And CrossFit, Dave Castro, whoever made this decision, was like, you know what? I don't think they have. Let's find out. And there was a huge uproar about it. Do you think it's right or wrong to do this to people, so to say, to be like, to put that hard skill first and be like, hey, you're going to spend 10 minutes practicing it because you didn't want to before, holding people's feet to the fire like that? What do you think?
yeah, I think now there's even more with like, all right, then go scaled, or something like that. It's tougher for me. I guess the only way that I could relate is if like I was already signed up, ready to go. And the first workout was like, we're starting off with a 50-foot handstand walk buy-in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be the only real equivalent that I had. But again, that's such a high level skill that it's one that it's like clearly across the years, that's been my one thing where I would really then have to make a decision of like, okay, now what am I going to do with these? I think I have to fully focus on these now because they put it in workouts, but like as a second piece, being like, if you make it this far, then we're getting to handstand walking. And if you get any little bit of it, you're ahead of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But I think, again, if you put it first and you're like, yeah, this is the way to go, then people are going to have to figure it out.
It's now they have like there's just like, all right, here's essentially the intro level to the workout. Then the beginner,
Right.
intermediate, advanced, the big dogs get down here and finish it. Would that discourage you? So, and look at this from like a coach and gym owner's perspective. We've been hyping up the open for weeks. We got so many people to pay that $20. We're going to have a great time. Here it's coming. The announcement drops. I can't. And then like everybody behind you that paid that $20, like, we can't do that. What are we going to do? And there's no scaling. This is back. So again, like things being introduced for the first time. I think it was the year after that they finally had scaled workouts, or it might have been 2 years after that. But there was no scaling option. It was just, you're going to do double unders, whether you like it or not. Would that discourage you as an athlete? I think it should. I think being exposed should motivate you, should light a fire, being like, you know what? Yeah, I didn't spend any time on my hands. I did all the things I like to do, but none of the things I don't like to do. Like that's me personally. I think, but would that for you and motivate you if that was the situation? And let's put the context like this, not like today. I'm talking about the open is hot. Everybody's signed up. You're signed up. You've been doing all the prep. You're ready. You're Miguel Porter, ready for the CrossFit Open. And the announcement drops and it's handstand walks first.
Yeah, I think, depending on the time frame, I mean, I'm guaranteeing, unless they do like one is the full 50, nothing counts before it, then I don't know. But I know that majority of people also, like, if I don't have it, I know skills wise that I'm in the higher percentile. So I know that other people won't. So I'm like, all right, most of us are getting a 0 or like a 1 or like, depending on how they break it up. If it's
still with your cohort.
Yeah. I'm still with my peers in the first, like, whatever percentile. So it's like, cool. Next week we start fresh. And maybe it's a thing of like, okay, we're doing it all on Saturday. I'm going to do the workout scaled so I can get a workout in class. And then afterwards, I'll line up the RX. If I want to go RX for the open fully, I'll have someone judge me separately and do it RX. And maybe I get a 1, maybe I get a 2, maybe I get a 0. And then we hit next week and we see what we can do. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. And would that motivate you after, like, so that like the next year after, like, are you like, no, I'm getting my handstand walk set up. Like, I'm going to hire
I think so.
a personal coach. I'm going to be reading articles. I'm going to be doing drills every Saturday. I'm coming in and I'm working on my hands. That's my handstand walk day. I got 52 of them for the next open. Like, would that push you to do that?
Yeah. And I think every year in the open, I think people, it's that hindsight thing, or just like, I was just beaten by this. I think that's the best time to be like, now, do you guys want to work on it and get them into a routine of working on it? I think even like faster burpees, or like, here's how you do burpees over the bar. Like when those come up, or burpees over the dumbbell, like we've been doing the past couple times, like when those come up, I feel like that's the perfect time for like the week after to be like, do you guys want to do some more burpees over the bar? For them to be like, all right, now that I'm learning this move, how can I do it more efficiently? I think handstand walking would be similar.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. And it's good. See, people's egos were hurt when this happened, because like they knew they would be, it's almost like being publicly exposed for your weakness. And people had a hard time with that. Their egos got bruised. And it's like, hey, you're going to be so much better because of this. And I really liked it. And like that's the thing. CrossFit is such a unique thing that the program can do that. I guess other things can humble you. Like you can have humbling weightlifting workouts and stuff like that, but nothing quite does it with the sting of how CrossFit does it. When you're just exposed like that in a public setting and pushed to get better because of it. Or the other option is CrossFit always offers like, do you want to get better or do you want to quit? And and it's like which pill will you choose? So that's I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. I can never forget people blaming me like I did this to them. Like this is when we had like our 8:30 at night class and whatnot. There was one lady who came in and she was pissed at me, and I'm like, I didn't program this workout. All right, our main top 3. I think I went last with the with the honorable mention there. So now we're in our top 3. Are yours in order, or is this kind of just like just the 3?
Yeah, they're in chronological order, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that, because I didn't really put mine in like this is the all-time one, this is the whatever. But I think going maybe by year for ourselves individually would be probably a good thing to do it, or because that's what you did, right? Order of release. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's your first one?
So first one I have is 17.5. The workout is 10 rounds of 9 thrusters in 35 double unders. It was Katrin David's daughter and Sarah Sigmund's daughter. I think this is the first open announcement that I ever watched. Cool. So I just finished on ramp probably a few weeks before this, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks before this. So this was actually my first open workout that I did at Albany CrossFit. But I do remember watching this open announcement, and they were essentially, Katrin and Sarah were essentially neck and neck the entire time. Where I think Katrin would get ahead on the thrusters, and maybe Sarah was catching up on the double unders. It was something like that. But I remember it being the first one that I watched because I knew that I was going to class Friday morning. So I knew that that's what the workout would be. So that's the first one that I remember. So that's why I picked that one.
That's That's a cool workout. I do remember that one. Where was that the one where they had all the like bunch of past champions, or is it just those two?
I think it was just those two. I don't think either of them had won yet.
Okay. In 2017, Katrin.
Maybe Katrin won in 2017, or
Who's the other
maybe
person?
she won the year before.
Oh, Sarah Sickman's daughter.
Yeah.
I was thinking Annie in my head when you said that. I don't know why.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Sarah never won, right?
No.
I used to root for her so hard, because like you'd hear the story and like she like just barely get there, and like you could tell that like there was some kind of like sports psychology thing, and you're just like, come on, let's go. But she never got it. I always felt bad for her that she never, because I feel like she could have. I really do.
Yeah, agreed.
No, the double unders. So now look at double unders just coming back. 30, 35, 10 rounds, 350 double unders. So you went from a 10-minute AMRAP where it's 30 of them. People are getting bent out of shape. Now you're doing 350 of them, no problem, if you're finishing that workout. And that's the double unders been a part of every open. I think it would be a sin now to not have double unders in the open.
Right.
Like I think people would be more disappointed about that than anything at this point. Do you remember how you did on that workout?
I remember I was trying to see if I could do double unders before class, and Murph saw and made me do double unders. Again, this is my first open workout. This is also probably my 5th ever class workout that I've done in the gym. And I was forced to do double unders. I can't remember what weight I did. I think it was 95-65 was RX. So I probably did like 35 or 45. No, I think I did like 45 or 55 pounds for it. But I did finish though. I think I did like 12 double unders each round. But yeah.
And did you have your own rope or you just borrowed one?
No, I was still borrowing the one from upstairs.
Yeah. So it's like, what a unique experience that was back during that time where, and that was always a hard part of the year for us on having on-ramps finishing when the open is going on, and then having this influx of new people coming in who have no idea what's going on. And not only they're mixing it in with Gen Pop, the regular classes, but those people are really dialed in and all gung-ho about the open, and other people like, I don't even know what the open is yet. And I think we used to explain it a little bit during on-ramp at some point, just to kind of warn people. Do you remember what the energy was like? Because you'd be next door and there'd be all this open buzz happening over there. Did you get any of that secondhand on just the buzz around the event?
I'm not fully sure. I mean, it was at the time where like the 7:30 class was like really big. Like I can't remember. Maybe on ramp was like 6:30 to something to like 8. Does that sound right?
Well, it would have just been an hour, so it'd have been in like 7 to 8, because then I'd be coaching the 8:30 class right after it, and sometimes on ramp would run into that, or it would be I'd have like a little bit of a break.
Yeah, so I probably didn't know about like, oh, this is because of the open or anything like that, but yeah.
2017. Were you in on ramp when Ray was next door and you'd hear the screaming?
Probably not.
Okay.
Not that I would remember, at least.
That was always great. I'd be in the middle of on ramp and he'd be sounding like he's getting murdered next door, and I'd be like, all right, let's talk about him. And then eventually I started yelling at him. I'm like, you have to stop. You're scaring on ramp. It literally sounds like you're being stabbed to death over here. You have to stop. Oh boy. And I remember Chris Diso would get so mad at him at some point. He'd be working out and be like, Ray, shut the F up. Those are good times. All right. So that was 17.5. Any other thoughts on it?
No, I guess it's just my first. So yeah, like the very new to CrossFit, I'd probably seen the CrossFit Games. I'd probably started watching some documentaries by then.
Mhm.
But like seeing it live and then knowing that I was also going to do it, that was like a big moment.
Awesome. Yeah, for first one, and then the next year you probably signed up officially, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My first one here is 13.1. That was 40 burpees, 30 snatches, 30 burpees, 30 snatches, 20 burpees, 30 snatches, 10 burpees, then max snatches in the time remaining. And the weight on the snatches went up. It started off at 75 pounds, then 135, 165, 210 for the men. And the year before, the first workout, 20 or 12.1, was 7-minute AMRAP of burpees. And then 12.2 was a series of snatches, 30, 30, 30, 30 of those exact same weights. And then this year, in 13.1, they combined both of those, which was a cool programming thing,
Yeah.
which I don't know if they've ever done that since, but just like, let's just put both those together. And when I had done that snatch workout in 2012, I had done it in a barn at my friend's house, and he had big blue cast iron plates. And I got through the 75, no problem. And then I couldn't do the 135. I like got it up to here and whatnot and laughed. I'm like, that's not happening. I don't know if I ever posted that video. I should find it. But like I had to go through the whole thing of like having my friend film me on my Motorola phone. I just have the shittiest phone to try to record this on to upload it. And then I ended up not finishing the rest of the Open because I just didn't have access to all the stuff. And then I also couldn't do a lot of it too. So my Open kind of stopped there. Then here I am, moved back to Albany CrossFit, and I'm in the Open officially again. I'm going to be able to do the whole thing. And it's those two workouts combined. And I actually snatched 135 for the first time. So that's why it's so memorable that like going the year before, barn, metal cast iron plates, bar that doesn't spin. I don't even really know how to snatch, to being at an affiliate for a while and working there and hitting classes. And now and so I had to go through the 40 freaking burpees, the 30 snatches, and then 30 additional burpees. So I had to do 70 burpees just to get back to try to do one more thing. And then we got it. I'm pretty sure it was a snatch where I got under it and then rolled to my knee. So now I'm like in a lunge position and my knee touched. And then I had to get up and stand with it. And Brett Andrus from Avitas was my judge. And then I dropped it. I don't think I got it another time. I think I just got it just once. But I'll never forget that workout because of that. Like just the combo of it having failed the year before. And that's just a cool thing about CrossFit. It's like I had like such little experience before and definitely not the capacity or strength to do it. And then like a year later to kind of see those results, like even if it is just one rep, to get that one rep, I had to go through hell to get to it. It was way easier to get to 135 the time before, just 30 snatches, right? But now I had to do all these extra burpees too. And I paced those burpees. I remember it. I'm like, I'm not going to sprint through these burpees because I already knew that the 135 was my stopping point. If I'm lucky, we're going to get a handful of reps here. So I'm just going to try to control it until I can get there. And now my workout starts when we're here. So that's just a very memorable one. And I've got the picture right here. It's on my Instagram. Look how skinny Brett is. Look how young he is. Clean shaven. Yeah. That was the night. Look at that young Brett. How handsome he is. That was the night before our Albany CrossFit winter formal. So later on that night, we went to one of the hotels around here, and it was an open bar, and everyone's dressed up fancy and everything. And there were award ceremonies for Athlete of the Year, all kinds of stuff. And we just had a big party. So that's my first one.
Nice.
What's your number two?
So number two would then be my first official open workout. So it's 18.1. It's a 20-minute AMRAP, 8 toes to bar, 10 dumbbell hang, clean and jerks, and 14 calorie row. It was Sam Briggs and Kristen Holta did the announcement. So this being my first official open workout, just the jump from like me watching 17.5 to 18.1 the next year, this time I like studied it. Like I might as well have had a notepad watching the open announcement to like really get ready because, especially because of the time that I started, like starting basically around the open of 2017 and then going like, I'm a year in now. I really want to like see where I'm at with this. And I think that workout, that 20-minute AMRAP, I think a lot of people really like this workout. I know that we retested it on a Saturday, I think maybe over the summer, or maybe
What was it
last.
again?
It's the 20-minute AMRAP, 8 toes to bar, 10 dumbbell hang clean and jerks, and 14 calorie row.
Yep.
And I see a lot of like, yeah, I see a lot of training camps also, like when they get ready for like open prep, that they like rerun this one. I think this is one that people really like.
Yeah.
But again, I chose it because I like really studied this one. And in my head, because of the dumbbell weight, I think it was 50. I was like, okay, this is my first open. I don't need to go RX. This is my first open. I already have a plan because I'm going to be using a 35-pound dumbbell. I already know like my splits and everything that I'm probably going to be doing. And I remember going to class and you and Shy were like, you have to go RX. And I went, oh. So every plan that I had was completely out the window. I was able to do it.
You're welcome.
But
you're welcome.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, since then it was like I had an idea of like this year I'm going to do all the workouts scaled. And then next year will maybe be my first RX year. But to like really be into it, like fully watching and knowing that I'm like competing this year, and then going out and then doing my first workout. And I actually to this day like really like that workout. I think it's a good one.
I think it's a good one too. I can guarantee you when they announced it on the coaching staff side of things, we were like bent out of shape. It's like 20-minute AMRAP. Come on, like because we're trying to run it in a class, and that's when we were running open workouts like in our normal class schedule, on those Fridays. So I remember not being happy about that. But the nice thing about it is a very accessible workout. Whenever they do those low rep gymnastics, it's like, they're like, all right, we're giving you a chance. Like, even if you have to do singles or something, you can like use them and then move on. So I always liked that. And then now the dumbbell's more in the game. So first workout was 17.1 with a dumbbell. And in 2018, the first 3 all had dumbbells. And it was cool to see like, all right, you don't need 2, you just need 1. And they did that a lot back then of just 1 dumbbell because, again, everyone's trying to buy them. All the stores, sold out. And now if you need 2 50s, that's going to kind of limit you a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, that was always a great workout. And it's an easy one to run back and kind of, you can really experiment in a 20-minute AMRAP,
right?
Especially in AMRAP in general, where there's no risk of like, you might as well stop doing the workout because you're not going to be able to make up any ground here,
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that one too. That's funny. We made you go 50. Did that change your? I mean, it changed your score. Did it change? Like, how far off were you based on where you were projecting to get?
It was just like I knew if it was 35 because I think you had to go 5 in one hand before you switched.
Yep.
And I knew like, all right, 35, I probably don't even have to put it down. But 50 was like, I can get them. But like, I'm especially switching hands, I'm putting it down before I pick it up with the next hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely switched it overall. But I mean, it's one of those things where I've always had like the skill moves, quote unquote. So like toes to bar weren't going to be an issue that I knew that I could do them. Yeah. They probably weren't great, but like, but
gosh, yeah. I'm remembering 2018 Miguel now. like just you were so skinny, so to say.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize you're huge right now compared to like when you first started. You ever look at those
I'm
old
probably,
photos and be like, holy crap?
yeah, I'm easily like 35 pounds heavier than when I started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like like muscle,
Yeah.
like you put on a lot of muscle, and of course your lifts are through the roof, in part with that. But it's cool to see the progress, and that is cool. We go like, all right, year before you just got out of on ramp. What is the open? Let me do this first workout. I'm being forced to do double unders. Flash forward a year later. All right, I'm taking diligent notes. I'm like in it now. And now I'm being forced to use 50-pound dumbbell. It's like, but that's the great thing about the open, or again, CrossFit in particular. You'll make a plan, and then other people are like, I think you can do more, and like
Yeah.
push you to do more. Not saying that other things don't do that, but like, man, is it a wonderful thing about a
Yep.
CrossFit and a CrossFit affiliate. Any other notes you had on that one?
No.
Okay. My next one is 15.1. Froning versus Frazier. This is like right at the end of Froning's kind of reign and right at the beginning of Frazier's, where they were number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
And they were like hyping it up. Number 1 versus number 2. This whole thing. And you knew Matt was good. He was like right on the heels of everybody. And everybody could tell he was like going to be this phenomenal athlete. And Froning was king. At that point, 2015. Oh my goodness. And the workout was a 2-parter. And it would start off a 9-minute AMRAP, 15 toes to bar, 10 deadlifts, 5 snatches, 115.75. And then part B was 6 minutes to do a heavy clean and jerk. And not only was the open announcement itself exciting, because like when they put out that's what a way to start the open, right? Like with like Rich Froning brought the eyes. Like you wanted to see that guy do stuff, and who could fight him? Like who could try to go toe to toe with him? This kind of seemed like a guy that maybe there was a risk here. Oh, Rich might lose, because people were like, there's like little whispers like that, right?
Had he announced his retirement yet?
That I don't know. Or I don't know if he announced his retirement, and if he went team that year, or if he was going to. But that year, 2015. He wasn't in the games for individual. So I don't know if he sat that year out or went teams. Ben Smith won that year.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting, because like there was so much coming into this one. Froning had never lost an open announcement. And here's the number 2 guy who everyone was like, if there were whispers that Froning was going to be retiring or stepping back, or this was his last year or whatnot, people were like, this is going to be the guy that's going to win it. And then for him to lose it to Ben Smith later, like the drama of that whole 2015 season with the regionals and open, like there used to be like that story, and now it's kind of like, what's going on now? I don't know. But this one, for part A, Froning beat him by three reps. So they were neck and neck. And like right at the end, Frazier came off the pull-up bar, Froning went up, got 3 reps, squeaked it out, right? And like, if you look at it, it kind of seems like Rich was in so much control. Like Frazier was like chasing him, but it's like he was like, "Yeah, you want to follow me down here, and let's see if you can handle it," type of a deal. And then in the end, he's like, "And I'll win it." Just like, and you're like, man, like you forget how good he was at doing that, and that even he could bait someone and beat someone psychologically like that, like Matt. And I'm sure that fueled Matt to like, beef his stuff up. And then part 2, the other part of this. So the workout was also weird, because we're doing toes to bar, deadlifts, and then snatches. So you're being forced to change your grip on the barbell. And that was like a really weird combo.
Yeah.
You'd never seen that before. And it's all grip, all 3 movements, grip on grip on grip. So it was a very, which you can have that. You can have complementary movement patterns, and then you can have non-complementary movement patterns. I think that's the word I was trying to think of yesterday, movement pattern. Why couldn't I remember that word? It just dawned on me now. But and then you had to do a heavy clean and jerk, which is more grip.
Yeah.
So it was a very unique workout with that deadlift snatch combo, and double barbell, one gymnastics. And then the thing that got people after it was the clean and jerk, because you had the controversy of all the guys that are like weightlifters. This is where I think like Jared Enderton did this, where they got like one rep of one toes to bar and then waited the 9 minutes and then did like 400 pounds on the clean and jerk.
Yeah.
And then people were like I can't remember what CrossFit did. I think they might have penalized people's scores or did something with that. Do you remember all that? Well, actually, you would have had to look back in it.
Yeah.
But
the only related would be 18.2, but that was like you have 7 minutes or whatever total, and you have to complete before you can go on to the heavy clean.
Yeah.
So I think that's how they did like start to combat that, where it's like you can lift, you have to earn the lift.
Yeah. And it's such a unique thing to see a sport grow from an idea and nothing into like what it is today, and be like, yeah, like they probably, I mean, they could have, you could argue they should have, but who would have thought some asshole out there would have been like, I'll just get one toes to bar and then I'm just going to win part 2 and get a lot of points for part 2. Because I think there may be separate points or something. I can't remember. But it's like, it's almost like you didn't think anyone was going to do that. And now you have to put in safety measures into other workouts where, you got to get these 3 reps or all those reps if you want to do the heavy part. They the weightlifter proof the workout. Yeah. All the weightlifters broke the workout. So that was just a cool thing. But in the open announcement, once they put out there what the workout was, everyone automatically starts going, Matt Frazier is a weightlifter. And that was like, he's like known to be like, all right, so maybe he can't get Froning on that first part, but man, what's he going to put up? Like, is he going to clean and jerk 400 pounds? Like, people are throwing out crazy numbers because that's the reputation he had. And it ends up Froning beats him. Froning goes 343 for his final attempt, and there's like 20 seconds left. Matt frantically puts 345 on his bar, hits the clean, misses the jerk. And then time runs out. And Rich was over there adding more because like, oh shit, he might actually get this. And then he didn't. And then the thing that I liked about this open announcement is the time had run out, but Rich, of course it's his show. He's like, well, let me give this last one a shot anyways. Like, it's loaded on the bar just for the fans, right? And I don't know if they do that a whole lot now. I feel like now it's like, no, the workout's done. We're going to save our energy, blah, blah. But like, he's like, let me dive under this one more time. And he didn't get it. He didn't even clean it. It kind of rolled right off. Yeah. But like, I don't know what kind of like effort he put into it because it's over. But it was just, Matt was so close. 3 reps, 2 pounds, so close, but still so far. But it was an exciting one to watch. They were neck and neck, and you almost wonder, is like, were they neck and neck because like Rich is like, let's make it a show, let's make it, or could he have blown him out at all? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same way that we see how it's gone the past few years, where I think you have this idea of like, this person is better than me, so I'm going to stay at their heels. Because we've seen people do it with Matt when he was dominant. Yeah. And same thing with Tia, where it's like, you probably could have beat them. Maybe you guys even doing this together is why you got a worse score. Because you saw them and you thought, I'm behind this person. I will stay behind this person, So that's why I was like also wondering if he had already announced his retirement or not. He might have. I feel like he might have announced it after he won. But either way, like that idea of like, this is the guy, so I can't beat him. Whether that means like you actually can't, or just in your mind you're putting up your own blockers.
And like, not even for the games, like they're like, yep, Rich Froning's in the open and he's never lost an open announcement. Right. It's like, you got to deal with all that, Yeah. And then during that workout, it starts off, Froning has a shirt on, He takes it off during the Metcon. Shirt goes back on for the heavy part. Heavy part's done. Shirt comes off. Like they were keeping track of what's happening during the announcement with the shirt, because normally it would never go back on. And that, it's like, that used to get a big pop from people. Like as soon as he started to take his shirt off, the crowd would go crazy. Does that still happen? Do people care now if people take their shirts off, or are their shirts already off?
Yeah, I think people just have their things. Like some people are like, they'll just keep their shirt on. Some people are like, I'll just start with it off because I'm going to take it off anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably more common now to just start with it off.
Yeah, I think so. It was like a thing. It was like a thing back around like 2013, maybe 2012, and then up through 15 of like, and it's like, and of course, like Froning had a body that was like, at that point, like everyone's like, oh, if I could, I want to look like that guy. Like he looks great, you know? And now people have, actually, I don't know. That's a whole rabbit hole to say if anyone has a better physique or whatnot, like comparing classic CrossFit physiques to now. But yeah, so that's my my second one. It was just such a, it was exciting, like knowing like when it, like who the matchup was going to be and all the drama. And CrossFit did such a great job of like pulling you into it. The storytelling was really good on this one. And I looked up the old video, just even the way they had everything of like the open announcement, the tips and tricks after it, the cool down with the interview. And of course, like at that point, Matt Frazier wasn't that good on the interview portion of it, but that didn't matter because you had Rich, who like everybody's like, please don't go, say more. Right. Like tell us, what'd you eat for breakfast? You know, how much peanut butter did you eat today? Because that's when he was eating jars of peanut butter. So yeah, that's my second memorable one.
Yeah. I think a big thing too, a lot of yours, I think, were before social media was so huge.
Yeah.
So it was also, because I mean, for me, like, even I would say 2017, I really started to watch this, but like their like Road to the Game series was like really popping because you couldn't see essentially what people were doing otherwise.
Yeah.
Like not many athletes were, definitely not the way now, but like maybe every now and then you'd see like a post of like, here's my workout. But then it was like the only way that you can see how these athletes are faring is the open announcements. Like, so like that story was like, these are the only tidbits you're going to see before we get to regionals and then the games. So here's how you see like how everyone's stacking up.
Now you know everything about them. You're like, oh, such and such is injured, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Versus you would get that info during like a vignette. Like, all right, they're before they're even coming out, like what they in the commercials and stuff. Here's Miguel Porter, and like, oh yeah, he hurt his knee when a shopping cart ran into it, and here's how he's been rehabbing, and look at how strong he is. And then, but all that stuff used to motivate you and pump you up too. You're like, oh, all right, I can make a comeback like that. Do you think, are we too exposed now? And does that take away? There was magic to this. It was like when we were watching it, like that's the only way I can describe it. It was magical. You had never seen anything like this stuff before, and you were so sucked into it. It was like it was like a soap opera that like you could go to the gym and be involved in too. You could do it too, you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like some of the magic of CrossFit has like dwindled away, but that's because like I wonder if it's because all secrets are out now. What everybody's doing, all the programming, all the behind the scenes, all of the coaching details, like which you do want a lot of that stuff to be out there. But I don't know, it kind of seems like, you know, there was a point where like you'd come in and like people would be an on-ramp and they're like, well, I read this art, like it just got too crazy where it's like like you're out there doing this your own interpretation. I don't know. Does overexposure, has this killed the magic?
In a way, I do also think that CrossFit got lazy with their storytelling.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's one of those, it's like part of it is like, it's like movie trailers where it's like, if you're already going to see a movie, I only need maybe one trailer.
Yeah.
By the time you get to like, when movies get delayed and then like, all right, I've seen 4 different cuts of a trailer. I feel like I've seen the whole movie. Like that's kind of the exposure that we're at now. But again, I think, there was that year where they laid off all of their media team. And I don't think that they ever got back to that level where they really, because like I said, like a lot of my big like open moments, I was like, oh, I was watching Heber in Marston doing their like Buttery Bros things off to the side, where it's like I'd see a vlog of the announcement, but then like afterwards they'd get other athletes that were around and then they do the workout and then cool stuff like that. I think that CrossFit they dropped the ball at a certain point, and then I don't think that they've gotten back to it. Because even now, like they'll post things, but I feel like it's almost too much to the point where you're like, yeah, that's fine. I'll watch it.
It used to have soul. It used to have substance. And sometimes they put things out and it kind of seems like it's out for the sake of having content. Like, all right, let's just put it out there and get some views and do stuff like that. But it's missing a personality, that it used to have. And that you recognized with CrossFit, and that's where, it's unfortunate. I hope they could get their storytelling back, their voice back, and put some of that magic in there where it's not so sanitized, your final one.
Yeah. So my final one is 19.4. The
I thought you were going to say 19.1, which is the wall ball row 15-minute AMRAP.
That's my famous picture though on Wodify.
Is it? Yeah. The AKA the worst workout for short people ever.
I think that was also the first year that whatever top 20 automatically got to the games or something.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And it threw off a lot of like games athletes' chances of getting top 20 because of the rowing and wall balls. Like some tall people just like completely threw them out of the spot. But yeah.
Boy. All right. Anyways, back to yours.
So 19.4, 3 rounds of 10 snatches, 12 bar facing burpees, then 3 minutes rest when you're done with that, into 3 rounds of 10 bar muscle ups into 12 bar facing burpees. This one was done at CrossFit NCR, so in Ontario, Canada. It was Patrick Vellner, Paul Tremblay, and Tim Paulson. I really like this one because it felt like, before we had the open announcement in, the capital region, this felt like one of the closest ones. Because like Tim Paulson is just a couple hours north of us, and then like the Canada peeps. So like it felt like it was at a pretty close gym. And I think it was my first workout. I'm not sure if it's the first one like this, but I think it was my first workout where there was like a built-in rest. I can't remember what the time cap was on this one, but that 3-minute rest was like interesting to me because it was also my first workout where as I was watching the open announcement, I went, can I finish this one? Because I just started doing barbell club maybe a few months before. So that like the 10 snatches at 95 pounds, I was like, that shouldn't be a problem for me, really. And then I had muscle ups. I don't know how many I knew that I would have had, but it was just an interesting workout to watch. And also because of like proximity and also like my general excitement about the open at that time was probably at its peak. And yeah, I think also the progression from like my first pick, 17.5, doing the open, but unofficially, to 18.1, like my first one RX, because I was like forced to go RX, to 19.4, where the first workout that's like, there is a time cap, it's high skill. The weight is, for me, again, at that point, I was probably like 130 pounds. Like but 95 pounds, I was like, I know I can move this now. So going from like year to year to this time being like, this is probably a really close one that I might be able to finish. I think I was on like my last round of bar muscle ups. Like I think I had a couple more bar muscle ups. So that was like a big one for me.
And I remember around this time, you were in barbell club, and then maybe still hitting you're probably still hitting CrossFit workouts too, right?
Yeah, I
You were
mean,
doing
I was only
double
doing
duty,
barbell club for the open.
and then we roped you in.
Yeah.
Well, and also too, back then barbell club was only twice a week,
Yeah.
so you would have done Monday, Wednesday, and then CrossFit on the other days. And I seem to remember a workout with you and Mike, and it was rope climbs and dumbbell snatches, and you guys were flying up and down that rope, like and it might have been 20 foot climbs, maybe even. Do you remember that at all? Is there any recollection?
Not fully, no.
I'd have to. I want to say it was like 5 rounds of rope climbs and dumbbell snatches, and like you guys were coming down so freaking fast. Like, do you remember your old rope climb abilities? On like you guys would scurry up there and just fall down the rope. It was insane.
I mean, I still don't know how to come down, but I
That's
do
probably
feel
why.
like back then it was more, we did 20-foot climbs more often.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have the bell up there. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you got deep in that workout. That's probably a workout now that you could probably definitely finish, because like
Yeah.
the snatch isn't going to be too much of an issue, and you just have the strength. And like it's funny, like your general fitness, even being so deeply in barbell club, might be above your CrossFit fitness when you were doing CrossFit mainly.
It's
Isn't that a
iffy
weird
though.
thing to think about?
What if
Depending on what we're doing,
those 2019 scores were something else. But yeah, I would say like that was like my peak, I would say, interest in CrossFit, in like preparedness for the open. Like I said,
Yeah.
like I did barbell club specifically for the open of 2019. And then I think during that time we decided like, oh, there's a local weightlifting meet. You might as well
Yep.
do it since you've been doing barbell club. But like
Saratoga
I
Barbell
was
Club.
fully like, I want to get a great score in the open. So that was like a really exciting one for me.
You did the open in end of February and March or you started barbell club to get better for the open in February, March, and then flash forward later that year in June, you're doing you Schaff are doing your first weightlifting meet. Frank is up. Remember, Frank came up. He was at the academy, and he got pepper sprayed like the day before, and then he had to do the meet. What a time! What a time!
Yeah.
And then now here you are, still in barbell club, still
Right.
fighting with those weights and the snatch and clean and jerk and all that. So that's a great progression you've got there. You ever think about retesting any of these workouts just to kind of see where you're at now?
Yeah,
Especially that first one with the double unders.
Yeah, that would be fun. But that's the thing. I kind of just want it, because it's one thing to just like, let me just tee it up one day versus this isn't like a repeat. I don't think any of these workouts have been repeated since. I know that they like come up in programming, but I would like it to be like 26.2 is this one again. Because I would like to see with like that same kind of mind frame of like, all right, I'm going for it.
Yeah. And plus the environment, the atmosphere, all that stuff. Yeah, that would be cool. And now it's so different too, because these were all 5-week opens. I can't remember when they switched to 3. Was it 2021?
I think it was that year. I think 19.
No, that was
because
that
they
year.
doubled it.
Oh, that's right.
Because that was the year that they did 20 in October.
Yeah, they were going to change the season around a little bit. Interesting, huh? So many changes. So many changes. At some point, we got to make a decision. Just have it be the event and whatnot. But my final one, 16.5, 21, 18, 15, 12, 9, 6, 3. Thrusters at 95-65 and burpees. And this was the first time ever that they said no time cap, which It was a whole thing. Like Dave Castro even said in the, they're outdoors at the ranch, and the lineup was Froning versus Frazier part 2, and Ben Smith was there now because he just won the games. So of course you got to bring Rich back because he's the star. You got to have him out there, and I'm sure if Frazier would have won, I don't think Ben Smith would have been there. I think it would have been Froning v. Frazier part 2.
Yeah, for sure.
But now you have to lump him in there. And Frazier won the whole thing. He finished that workout in 8:06. Froning finished it in 8:41, and Ben finished it in 9:06. So he's beating Ben after Ben just won the games, and it's not looking like that might happen again. It's looking like Frazier's got it figured out now. He's like that loss, like he's like, never again. It's never happening again. So that was a cool part of it. And Castro said during the announcement, he said, conclude your open. To conclude your open, you will with beautiful pain. And it's like, yeah, that's a great way to kind of like sum up CrossFit. It's just beautiful pain. And then they said during the announcement, they're like, no time cap for the first time ever. You will finish it. But then there's also like the little talks and like the thing on like, or you could quit, because it's not going to take everybody 8 minutes. And it took some people, it took me, I was 35 plus minutes, maybe 38. Like I remember doing it at 8:30 at night. I think Murph was covering it, or we just had heats rolling all day. And that's when I ended up doing it in the last one. So we might not have even had formal classes. I think that might have been how you can't do this workout in an hour. And then hope to start the next class in an hour if there is no time cap and you're going to have 3 people off to the side who are taking 40 minutes because they're going RX. There was a scaled, but they're going RX and they don't want to scale it and they want to finish it. We let them so I don't think there were formal classes. So I ended up doing it at the end of the day with the final heat, and it definitely took me 35 to 85 to 38 minutes, and it was brutal. It was brutal. My calves blew up my calves and shins like blew up after the 18, and the rest of it was forever. Like that was the hardest thing, jumping over it with blown up calves and everything. So that, but it was one of those things of like grinding through it and like being a coach, be like, oh, so this is what happens when you don't give stimulus, you don't have a parameter to finish it in, and you also don't cut people off. Like, because at a certain point, it was just suffering. Like this was no longer fun. This was no longer just a workout. This is just like 12, then 9, and then it was awful. And then you're not doing the thrusters unbroken anymore either. So it's just ballooning up. And it's like, had this been a regular class, hopefully someone would have put me out of my misery. James, you're done. And why? Yeah. And it's like, it just kind of gives you that like coaching perspective of this, like this is what you're doing to people when you don't have like actual stimuluses and expectations and scale them correctly. And they go over it and you're just watching them finish it out. And some of them may want to finish it, but most of the time people are waiting for you to come be like, Miguel, that's enough. And you're like, oh, thank you. Because like, it's also a thing of like, I wasn't going to quit. So I would have needed someone to be like, James, you're done. And I would, all right, fine. Coach is telling me I'm done. But that's the thing that CrossFit did with this one. They were like, because that might have been their answer. I don't know for sure on the complaints of like, let us finish the workout or whatnot. Like, fine, you can finish it. But how about you do 84 burpees and 84 thrusters if you really want to? So CrossFit always has a way to get you, when you have little complaints like that. So it was a cool announcement. And then also seeing them finish it in 8 minutes threw off your perspective on how long this is going to take you. Because I did not think 35 to 38 minutes into this thing, I was still going to be going. I did not think that. You look at the number, 21, 18. I was like, no way. And then I blew up, and I also more than likely went really hard on that 21. Because again, you're thinking, all right, maybe it's going to take me 15 minutes,
Yeah.
20 max, and then add another, 15 to 20 minutes into it. It was brutal. Have you ever done this one?
No, no.
And they were bar facing burpees too. So you
Hmm.
couldn't be lateral. It would have been way better to be lateral. But instead you had to do that burpee, stand up, step over there, jump over it, land with 2 feet probably. And then there were standards on the burpees.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a nasty one. And again, that was the first time they said no time cap, and everyone's like, "Oh, no time cap, we get to finish." And then they're doing thrusters, crying, "I don't want to finish it.
Yeah.
We're sorry."
And it doesn't seem like you can even, especially if it's the final one, like you're not really repeating that.
No.
But like you can look on the leaderboard, and if someone beats you by a full minute, you in your head have to go, I probably could have beat them. But that's a long workout to be like, I know that I lost a minute just by not moving.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a fun one.
Then the 3 fittest guys in the world finished it sub 10 minutes, and it doesn't look that much on paper. Been okay, 84 thrusters, 84 burpees. But then you're like, okay, I'll just pace the burpees and move through those and break up the thrusters. And then they say 3, 2, 1, go, and you do way too many thrusters to start, and then you're a little too fast on the burpees. And burpee thruster combo will get you that Fran feeling.
Yep.
So then it's like you're burning, you can't breathe, and then you're the last one there, and everyone's cheering you on, and you're like, God, they're gonna be cheering me on for the next 10 minutes because they don't realize how far away I am from finishing this workout.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people doing that, and we had issues too with like on-ramp. Like on-ramp's supposed to be starting. People started open gym to do this workout, and I'm trying to start on-ramp, and I got people taking 20 extra minutes finishing up this workout. It was chaos in the gym. I hope to never do that workout again. I could not do that workout again, but they should program it. They should program it again. Just program it in reverse. 3, 6, 9, all the way up to 21, and really let people go way too fast. They'll rip through the 9s and then realize they have made an error. But I look at all the workouts we're talking about. I wish that they would start doing some of this stuff again. Like do things that are going to like expose people. Do things that are going to make people have to choose, will you finish? Will you not finish? I think that's a cool element of CrossFit that's kind of like fallen off in the open workouts. The open to me these days just seems like box jump overs, dumbbell snatches, double unders, AMRAPs, and that's it. I don't know. It just seems like it's missing a lot. And that might be because it's 3 days now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And just like we said, like them changing around the season so often, it's like what it was initially intended to be. There's always seems to be like question marks about it.
Yeah. Like it doesn't have a purpose anymore almost.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like we're going through the motions now, and it's like not valuable anymore because it used to be who's going to regionals and all that stuff. And that's one of the ways or how you got there. So it kind of seems like it's lost its relevance.
Yeah.
I think you got to bring that back. I think you got to beef it up and bring it back and make it worth something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother talk. Well, Miguel, any closing thoughts on these top open moments throughout our talk or through your research? Have you been a little more like I midway through I was like, crap, I might have to sign up for the open now.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. It's thinking about each time that I did these workouts as well, and just like the gym energy. Like I remember like Fridays at 5 doing these workouts with like a full 18 people class, and just the energy, like the entire weekend. Like Monday nights were crazy where everyone was redoing it for the second, third, maybe fourth time of these workouts. But no, I'm excited for this year. They have quarterfinals again this year. I don't know.
That's
So
confusing to
we'll
me
see.
to have
Yeah,
quarterfinals, then not have quarterfinals, then bring it back again. What are we doing? Like it
yeah.
should have just I honestly think it should have stayed gone. If you got rid of it, spend a couple years with no quarterfinals. It's like how have we not figured out how to send people to this freaking event yet that makes sense and is consistent? How? I don't understand how.
They're very reactionary. It's like the weight classes in
Mhm.
weightlifting, where it's like just let it settle, let people figure out how to deal with this, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, the old complaint was the handstand push-up standard changes every year, and it gets more and
Yeah.
more complicated every year, and all that stuff. And then now they have three things, and now you bring back quarterfinals, and then you have sectionals. Is that what's that next step called?
I think so. Yeah.
Something like that. But then you water down the open because you're like, these movements will pop up in the next stage to make the
Yep.
open more accessible. So look at what we went through. 2014, you got double unders? No, F you. All the way to, well, let's just have everybody do ab mat sit ups and bear crawls so everyone can be happy and everyone, your grandma can participate. And we have a million different levels and a million different scaling options. And it's all right, cool.
Yeah.
It's not the same though, but I understand why you're doing it. I think you can have your cake and eat it too. I think you can still have accountability and push the community and move the community forward and all that stuff and still have all the different divisions and still have XYZ going on. I think you can still have it all. I think maybe the team needs to be expanded to and like dedicated to just like, all right, you guys do this and make it work
Yeah.
and make it awesome and stuff. I do know that. I mean, imagine Dave Castro's got a lot to do, and this is just one little blip on it.
Right.
Well, if I was Dave Castro, I'd be like, Boz, write an awesome open. That's what you're doing and whatnot. I'm gonna do this other stuff, and then we'll check in and do and collaborate and whatnot, and then do stuff. Um, but I don't think they're like that. I think they're more like I'm doing it. You know.
Yeah. And again, like the whole, there's always so many questions about the season as a whole that it's like they might have an idea where it's like this will be a great open, and they're like, we're bringing back quarterfinals, and then we got sectionals. Also, athletes can go to whatever sectional they choose to anywhere in the country, so it's not even regionals really. And then once everything changes, you're like, oh, well, I guess I have to change all these other things.
Yeah. Yeah, and then now you also have to write more workouts, and if you're losing your creativity, and all right, well, we're only going to do handstand push-ups in quarterfinals. You're kind of handcuffing me here for what I can
Yep.
really make the open into. Yeah, I think this is the year. Let's do push-ups in the open. Do it U.S. military style, where you got to do the hand release and whatnot, and have a standard. I know it could be a judging nightmare, but you know what? Well, we will never find out if we don't try. And other things early on were train wrecks, and then they got better. So maybe
Yep.
there's a way we can somehow do this and get the push up a little more love,
Yeah.
or at least for other divisions. Do handstand push ups, but then scaled can do push hand release push ups.
Hmm.
You're scaled anyways. You're not going on to the next level. So just create
Right.
some solid standards, and then the best gyms will help their people do the best push-ups possible, you know? And the worst gyms that don't do that, well, those members will eventually leave that gym because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And then they'll go to a good gym who helps them to do good push-ups that will pass in the open and also for their fitness, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta let the community work it out. Gotta work it
Hmm.
out. But cool, awesome. Well, thank you, Miguel. We did it. You got to get going. Any closing thoughts, or did we already say it all?
Yeah, we pretty much said it. I am excited though. I hope, like, that's always the hope, right? Of like, I want the open to be successful. I want it to be fun for everyone. So
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see as the workouts get announced.
yeah. It might be a first workout kind of thing. Like once I see what the adaptive workout is, that will maybe like decide, you know. But if it's like something where I'm like, I don't even want to do that. That doesn't even feel like the main workout.
Yeah.
That might stop me. But if it's cool, I'm like, all right, fine. You twisted my
Yeah.
arm. I'll do it. So we'll see. Anyone else listening, sign up for the Open right now. Right now.
Yeah.
There's different situations happening here, but you should sign up for the Open for sure. Miguel, where can people follow you?
At Couldn't Be Miguel on Instagram.
Cool. Follow me, James A. McDermott, Albany CrossFit, Albany CrossFit Barbell Club, The Barbell Strikes Back, and we will see you next week. Possibly more open talk. This might be a little bit of a theme going on here. Cool. All right, Miguel. Thank you, and thank you everybody for listening.